he does it. I don't. What's my son's favorite? I mean,
Every year we produce massive amounts of trash. If everything goes as planned, all of this trash will end up in landfills like you see here. Literally metric tons of garbage on a day-to-day basis. When I actually realized how much trash it was, I was shocked. At that point I discovered that I wanted to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. So what I did is I bought a reusable water bottle. By buying that reusable water bottle, I was able to take hundreds, if not thousands of water bottles out of this landfill every year. In current paces, if everything goes as planned, all this trash is going to end up in these landfills, and we're eventually going to run out of places to put it. Most of what you see here is all non-biodegradable polymers, which means that they'll end up in this landfill and they'll stay there for hundreds of years without ever being decomposed. $1,500 water bottles are used every second in the United States, according to an article written by Pet Schlotis in 2009. Primarily, these are all made from non-biodegradable polymers, which means they won't be decomposed over time in landfills like most organic trash will be. Most will end up in landfills. Some will end up as litter throughout our environment. A lot ends up in the ocean, as well as roadsides and things of that sort. There's also recycling, but recycling in itself holds a lot of other environmental impacts that aren't really thought of, like the use of fossil fuels and massive amounts of energy to burn down plastics and glass, things of that sort. I'd like to talk to you about some of the offenders of this problem. First of all, it's going to be billions of water bottles. If people are using 1,500 water bottles every second, and there's over 30 million seconds in a year, you can imagine how many water bottles that actually turns out to be. There's also disposable items like razor blade handles, and lighters. According to an article written by Sharon Atkinson, over 2 million lighters are sold every day. You can imagine with disposable lighters, those eventually will end up in our trash receptacles as well. Another one that's less looked at is plastic shopping bags. When you go to the grocery store and they ask you, paper or plastic, or I guess these days you kind of bag your own, but when you put it into plastic bags, eventually you end up taking dozens of bags home, and there really is no use for them other than maybe lining your bathroom trash cans or something of that sort, but eventually they all end up back in that same landfill, primarily comprised of non-biodegradable polymers. Some of the solutions to this is going to be to use a reusable water bottle. So, like, I personally made the choice to get a reusable water bottle, and that means that I was able to take hundreds of these plastic water bottles out of circulation. You can purchase items that can be used more than once. So, for example, with the plastic lighters, if you were to maybe invest in a Zippo, at that point you would be taking some of those lighters out of circulation as well. Also, maybe food containers, so investing in glass food containers rather than plastic food containers. You can also do a lot in the way of actually investing in something. I guess a lot of people do it out of the convenience and maybe out of, maybe it's cost effective to get something a little bit cheaper, but eventually you end up buying more and more things that are cost effective and ends up being not as cost effective as maybe making that one initial investment. Something else we can do is bring your own reusable bags to the grocery store. This is seen a little bit more commonly nowadays, but people have reusable canvas shopping bags they can bring to the store, so they don't have to use their own plastic water or plastic shopping bags to deliver all their groceries back to their house. At the current pace that we're going, eventually we're going to run out of places to put all of this trash. I can't imagine living in a scenario like this, but when you actually think about it, a lot of this trash is non-biodegradable, and we're only populating this earth more and more and more, so eventually what's going to end up happening is that we're going to run out of places to put all this trash. So unfortunately, we don't have anywhere else to go. This is our only home. At this current juncture, we don't have any kind of technology to take us out of this planet, so it may not look like this now, but you can imagine what it's going to look like 50, 100, 200 years from now. It's kind of our social responsibility to make sure that we take care of our planet because it's the only one that we have, and it's going to be the one that is inherited by later generations. By acting today and making some of these changes that I've talked about today, investing in reusable materials, also maybe purchasing a reusable water bottle or reusable shopping bags, we can ensure that scenes like this stay this way for later generations. And it also will help us to facilitate a more healthy planet because, like I said before, we don't have anywhere else to go. Thank you.
You're good.
Matthew, you talked.
If I didn't do it already, I would be like totally changing it.